What is up, guys? James Carter TV here for my official 2015-16 NFL season predictions video. This is where I make my official, and this will be the official long-standing, barring injury, win-loss predictions for each and every team. Now, I did make a specific video for each and every team, and you can go back or you can go in the description box. I'll go ahead and lay it out for you guys, and you can watch your own specific team if you want more detailed preview. But since then, I have made slight adjustments here or there. I've even changed my stance on a couple teams that I didn't like that much. I saw the preseason, and I'm like, hey, I actually kind of like this team, and I've adjusted that. And also in this video, I will outline my playoff bracket, my awards that I'm predicting for each of the players, MVP, you know, all of that. And also, I will give you my Super Bowl 50 champion. I'll give you the coaches I believe will be fired. And that's it. All right, so this is going to be a lot of fun. I will first talk about the adjustments I made, the strongest of adjustments I made. Number one, Tom Brady got his suspension nullified, so obviously I had the Dolphins winning the AFC East before. You can forget that. The Patriots are once again on top of the AFC East. Tom Brady changes it all. But with that said, I still have the Dolphins making the playoffs, but it is now the Patriots winning the AFC East at a record of 12-4, and the Dolphins falling behind with 10-6, although they could be 11-5, but that's as high as I will go there. I slightly adjusted the Jets down to 5-11. I slightly put the Steelers down to 11-5. Marquise Pouncey will be gone for the first 10 weeks, and that's a big loss for me. A loss that's good enough for a win that they would have had without him. That's a win's worth for me. I've adjusted the Houston Texans. I had them going 4-12, but it sounds like Aaron Foster will return quicker than expected. I've given them 2 more wins, but I still believe this is a below 500 team that will continue to be disappointing until they fix the quarterback position, which they won't be able to do until 2016. When you're starting Brian Hoyer, you're in trouble. All right, Ryan Fitzpatrick last year was a way better quarterback than Brian Hoyer, who you're going to have this year. Ryan Fitzpatrick put up 17 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. This is Ryan Fitzpatrick. Brian Hoyer, with better production, I might add, put up 12 touchdowns and 13 interceptions and like a 55 completion percentage. You're in trouble with Brian Hoyer as your starter, period. All right, I adjusted the Titans down by a win because they just look really shaky in the preseason. I still think they'll get their share amount of wins, but it's a little more unpredictable for me to say 7-9, as I was saying earlier. I've given the Chiefs a little bit more leeway. I have them going 8-8 now. I said 7-9. I'll give them 8-8, but the schedule is still too difficult. I mean, Chiefs fans, if you want to tell me 10 wins, okay, fine, tell me 10 wins, but when you tell me the 10 wins, you need to tell me each win. You need to go down the schedule, and you need to comment down below each and every win you see the Chiefs getting. And you need to convince me, because I don't see 10 wins there. I think it's a playoff caliber team, but the schedule is way too difficult. I've given the Raiders one more game, okay? The Raider fans, they did not like what I had to say, and I don't know why. Why is this breaking news that the Raiders are going to be bad? They've been bad for years. So now that they're bad again, oh my God. Okay, you added Amari Cooper and Dan Williams. The schedule is still too difficult. Derek Carr still needs to improve. Derek Carr is not at a level where he's in the top half of the quarterbacks in the NFL. He's still, if I had to rank the top 32 quarterbacks, he's around number 23. So with a number 23 quarterback, with a running back who isn't very good, with a wide receiving core that isn't very good. I mean, this still isn't a very good team. They have Khalil Mack. They have players here. They have 3 or 4 players like are spread out around the team. That's not enough to win games in the NFL. You still need playmakers to be spread out throughout the team before we talk about the Raiders winning games. But I'll give you one more win. I have them going 5-11. The biggest change I've made. I am giving props, credit, and belief into the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, I watched the preseason, and I'm buying into the hype. I had the Eagles going 7-9. You can scrap that. 10-6 playoff team in Philadelphia. But I still have the Cowboys winning the division because at the end of the day, if it's Cowboys versus Eagles late in the season for the division, give me Tony Romo. And this is not someone I would have taken years ago, but the Eagles secondary, although there's talent there, Chip Kelly, for some reason, his defensive system, he'll take talent and he'll just make them bad. Like, I mean, the Eagles defense, talent-wise, is really good, but they're still going to let up 400 points during the season. Well, maybe not 400, but at least 350. They're still going to have their bad games. I mean, remember, the Cowboys went to Philadelphia late in the season last year and put up 3 or 4 touchdowns in the first half. Okay, so give me Tony Romo to win the division. I've adjusted the Giants down because Jason Pierre-Paul, I'm convinced he's not playing. When he doesn't have a finger that he can use, that to me, and they're being really vague with his injury report. No, I think he's in trouble. I think the Giants are in trouble, and without him, they don't have a defensive player in the front seven worth a damn, or hell, front seven or their safeties. The only players worth a damn on the Giants defense are Jonathan Hankins, Prince Amukamara, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and that's it. Everyone else is to be determined. Okay, so I've slightly adjusted the Bears a little bit, adjusted the Saints a little bit, and I gave the Cardinals one more win. Nothing really noteworthy there, just some slight adjustments. Now let's get into my playoffs. In the AFC, first seed, I have the New England Patriots, similar to last year. Second seed, I have the Denver Broncos. People hate the Broncos, and I don't know why. I don't care about Peyton Manning. Yes, he's slowly declining, but he hasn't declined yet. And more importantly to me, guys, their defense is really good. Aqib Talib, TJ Ward, Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware. This is a really good defense that will give teams trouble. They're the second best team in the AFC. Could be the best when it's all said and done. The Pittsburgh Steelers, number 3. The Indianapolis Colts, number 4. They'll all be really close, and there'll be some shuffling there in terms of 2, 3, and 4. But I like that order. Now, the wild cards. I'm going to trust the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to have a top 5 defense. I think Elvis Dumerville and Terrell Suggs continue to be the most forceful tandem of outside linebackers in the NFL and lead the Ravens to the playoffs. But they're going to have troubles putting up points in the passing game without Brashad Perriman being healthy to start the season or Dennis Pitta being healthy to start the season. That's a concern for me. And I have the Miami Dolphins 6. Now, there are 2 teams that I think could make the playoffs that I don't have making the playoffs just because I can't trust them because their schedule is too tough, and that is the San Diego Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, maybe those teams can put together more than I'm expecting, but I think their schedules are too tough. I like the Chargers more than the Chiefs, so I'd have to say the Chiefs would be 7 and the Chiefs are 8. But it wouldn't surprise me if they got in, but the schedules are tough over both those teams. Okay, NFC playoff time. First seed, we have the Seattle Seahawks, best team in the NFL this year. Number 2, we have the Green Bay Packers, second best team in the NFL this year. Next, well, maybe third, New England Patriots are also up there. Third, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who won the NFC East. That's a team that I'm a little bit worried because they could jump from 3 to out to if the Eagles win the NFC East because it's going to be close, or maybe even out of the playoffs completely. But I like them at number 3. And number 4, I think the NFC South will be a close division there, and that the New Orleans Saints and Atlanta Falcons, it would come down to those 2. The Saints will pull it out. I like them more than the Falcons, but it wouldn't surprise me to see the Falcons win that NFC South. 5th seed, I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning that wild card, becoming second in the NFC East, but winning the wild card. And 6, I have the Atlanta Falcons. I have the Minnesota Vikings just barely missing out. I have the Detroit Lions just barely missing out. Why? The NFC North has a very difficult schedule. I don't like those two teams just to make it just because the schedules are very, very difficult. So with that said, if you want to see your own team's prediction, again, I've made preview videos in the past. Go watch those, and I'll just stuff all of this information I'm talking about. It will all be in the description box for you, readily available. Now let's talk about the playoffs and what's going to happen in them. All right, so really, I don't really care about what happens in the wild card and the divisional. But at the end of the day, at the AFC Championship, I have the Baltimore Ravens going to the Denver Broncos, facing the Denver Broncos, and I have the Denver Broncos winning. Again, people hate the Denver Broncos, and I'm saying not so fast. I'm saying their defense is really, really good. And remember, they lost that game against the Indianapolis Colts. What was it, 23-14? I mean, Peyton Manning did not show up at all, but hey, the defense still held them to 23 points. So, give me them. If I have them getting a bye, I have the Denver Broncos getting a bye, I can buy that they'll win 2 games with that defense. They can win 2 playoff games. Maybe you don't, and that's fine. But I have the Denver Broncos going to the Super Bowl yet again. NFC Championship, a rematch of last year, Green Bay Packers and Seattle Seahawks. These are the 2 best teams in the NFC. I think they're a level and a tier above the rest. I really don't think it's close. I really don't see how another team besides these 2 could make it to the Super Bowl. I really don't see it. So with that said, who will win in the rematch? Will I jump on the Green Bay Packers bandwagon because it is full and it is plentiful? People are on the Green Bay Packers bandwagon, and yes, I'm jumping on it. I am picking Aaron Rodgers to go to the Super Bowl to beat the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. I think this year Aaron Rodgers will be on a mission. He's tired of winning the MVPs. He wants to go. He wants to win the Super Bowl again. He has that opportunity as he defeats the Seattle Seahawks. With this said, guys, you have to understand this. It really doesn't matter because Seahawks fans are going to comment down and say, well, we're a better team than the Packers. I mean, look, we have a better secondary, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sure. But who knows? When it comes to one game, that's going to be January, 24th, 2016, it really doesn't matter. On that one day, Aaron Rodgers could just be better than your team. I mean, it's just, what are you going to pick? You just have to pick something, you have to go with it. We're talking 6 months down the road. I mean, Jesus. So I'm just going to say, or that 5 months down the road, Aaron Rodgers is better on January 24th, 2016. Sorry. All right, and then we have the Packers and the Broncos. We have Aaron Rodgers. We have Peyton Manning. 2 quarterbacks, 2 eras, Super Bowl 50. Aaron Rodgers wins his 2nd Super Bowl. I have Aaron Rodgers winning the Super Bowl 50. MVP, and that ends that. Now let's get into my awards. MVP, most valuable player. I think there's 3 candidates I'm looking at. Well, really 2. All right, Aaron Rodgers, he's going to continue to be a perennial MVP candidate. Remember, Peyton Manning won 5. Okay, and Tom Brady only won 1 or 2, I believe. So, Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to be an MVP candidate. Just get used to it. Andrew Luck is another candidate that I'm looking at that could possibly win this award. And maybe Russell Wilson, but he needs to have at least 30 passing touchdowns, and he hasn't come close. Last year, he only had 20. So he needs to start putting up statistical numbers if he's going to be considered for the MVP. So between Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck, I think Aaron Rodgers have the better record, so I'll pick Aaron Rodgers to win MVP yet again, repeat that award, but I'll have Andrew Luck winning the Offensive Player of the Year. With that said, Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt, everyone loves him. The writers are writing him, so they're going to continue to love to vote for J.J. Watt. All right, so Offensive Rookie of the Year. See, guys, I see people picking Amari Cooper and picking Tevin Coleman and Amir Abdullah. Okay, guys, it's going to be one of the quarterbacks. Last year, it was Odell Beckham. In order for him to win it, he had to have 1,300 yards in 12 games in 12 touchdowns, and people still wanted to give it to Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Odell Beckham was obviously the Rookie of the Year last year, but there was a debate that Teddy Bridgewater could win it. I mean, are you kidding me? Teddy Bridgewater won the Pepsi Rookie of the Year, for God's sake. How? Odell Beckham was the best, and he wasn't even close. Why? If you're a quarterback, you're going to get the award, or you're going to get serious consideration to get the award before all the others. So, Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston, one of them's winning the award, and you can put it down now. I'm sure Amari Cooper will have 1,200 yards, and they won't care. They're going to give it to one of these guys. They're going to give it to Marcus Mariota, who will have less turnovers, and that will be the difference between him and Jameis Winston. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Vic Beasley of the Atlanta Falcons. He'll put up good sack numbers, and that will be enough. Look at Aaron Donald last year. Comeback Player of the Year. Really, you have a couple choices. Adrian Peterson, Eric Berry. That's maybe Calvin Johnson could claim it, possibly. Matthew Stafford is a dark horse, but I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson. It's a safe and easy choice. Coach of the Year, tough. I really couldn't find one, but I'll go with Dan Quinn. He is a new coach. I think he's going to get the Falcons to the playoffs, so I'll give him that award. And then coaches, I believe, will be fired at the end of the year. So I have the Redskins and the Rams being amongst the worst teams in the league. So say goodbye to Jay Gruden, who's been a disaster for the Washington Redskins. Jeff Fisher, sorry, you're in trouble. I think this has been one of the worst. Honestly, it's been one of the worst coaching regimes I've honestly ever seen. And not because it's just been a disaster, just because how do you go somewhere and just do nothing and just continue to just muddle, like just to waddle around? They went 7-8-1. They went 7-9. They went 6-10. I have them going 4-12. I don't know how you systematically what's a good word I'm looking for? Systematically, not destroy, but just devalue and destruct. Yeah, it's fine. Just destruct a team. I've never seen it with picking players. I mean, they've been tearing down the team and picking just bad players. I mean, I've never seen it. So, hey, props to you guys, man. Wow. So they're gone. Tom Coughlin, this is the end. Okay, the Giants defense, it sucks. I've said it before. Yeah, they have Prince Amukamara, they have Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, they have Jonathan Hankins, and that is it. They don't have anyone else. Maybe another defensive tackle, but that's it. So they're in trouble. They don't have linebackers. They don't have safeties. I don't know how they're going to stop anybody. I really don't know. Ron Rivera, I think they've had enough. I think the Panthers are screwed. I don't know why Ron Rivera has neglected the offensive side of the ball as much as he has. I know it's not his specialty, and I guess you can blame more Dave Gettleman for this. But come on, you have to give Cam Newton weapons and protection, and they failed at both of those things. You don't believe me? They're starting Corey Brown at wide receiver. Marvin Lewis, I think he's done. I think the Bengals missed the playoffs. I think they've had enough. Hopefully they have. And Chuck Pagano is done. Yes, the Colts make the divisional round, but there's a tear and a schism between Chuck Pagano and GM Ryan Grigson, and for some reason the Colts owner is siding with Ryan Grigson, and I don't understand why. Chuck Pagano has not gone past the point at which he's gotten because the talent is bad. They have not drafted a good defensive player since he's been there, except for Jonathan Newsom. They drafted a bust in Bjorn Werner. They traded their first-round pick for a bust in Trent Richardson. Yeah, they haven't drafted anyone defensively. He just lucked into trading for Vontae Davis and just having Robert Mathis left over. He's done nothing. He's been a failure. He's been a problem. And yet they're siding with Ryan Grigson, and I don't get it. And whoever they bring in, I don't care if it's John Gruden, they will suffer the same fate because Ryan Grigson cannot draft or bring in talent. He's failed at that, but whatever. So, with all of this, this is my 2015-16 NFL prediction. So, soak them in. One more thing. 2016 NFL Draft. Who will have the first pick? I give that award to the Washington Redskins, and they select Connor Cook Connor Cook, quarterback, Michigan State, who I don't think is the best prospect in 2016, but when you need a quarterback, and they will, that's who they're going to go to in their time of need. Until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. My NFL Week 1 predictions will be uploaded tomorrow. Until next time, peace.